Imagine standing outside in temperatures far below freezing, wearing nothing at all. No modern coat, no heated home, no thermometer even telling you exactly how bad it is. This was everyday reality for our ancestors during the Ice Age, for tens of thousands of years. And yet, somehow, they didn't just survive. They eventually thrived, spreading across entire frozen continents. So how did people with none of our modern technology actually pull this off? The answer involves fire, genuinely clever engineering, and even genetic detective work using head lice. Yes, lice. Stick around, because that detail is genuinely one of the cleverest scientific discoveries in this story. Let's get into it. Let's start with the single most important survival tool available: fire. Evidence shows early humans were using fire in a controlled way for hundreds of thousands of years. Fire provided warmth during brutally cold nights, when temperatures could easily become life-threatening. It also allowed cooking, which made food safer to eat and easier for the body to digest efficiently. Beyond warmth and food, fire kept dangerous predators away during long, vulnerable nights. Mastering fire wasn't a small detail. It was arguably the single most important survival technology humans ever developed. Starting a fire from scratch wasn't simple either, and ancient people developed real, reliable methods for it. One common method used friction, rapidly spinning a wooden stick against a base to generate enough heat. Another method used naturally occurring minerals, striking a hard stone called pyrite against flint to create sparks. Once lit, keeping a fire burning steadily became an ongoing daily responsibility for the group. Losing a fire entirely could mean a genuinely dangerous, difficult restart during brutal winter conditions. This is likely part of why fire tending became such a consistently shared, valued community responsibility. Now here's that genuinely clever scientific detective story I mentioned earlier. Scientists wanted to know exactly when humans started wearing clothing regularly. But cloth doesn't survive for so long. So researchers turned to a surprising source of evidence: head lice and body lice. Body lice can only survive in clothing, not directly on human skin or hair. That means body lice couldn't have existed as their own group until clothing itself actually existed. By studying the DNA of both louse types, researchers calculated when they genetically split apart. The results pointed to roughly 170,000 years ago as when clothing likely began. That's about 70,000 years before humans are known to have migrated into colder northern regions. It strongly suggests clothing wasn't just useful for the cold. It may have been essential for making that migration possible at all. Interestingly, genetic research also shows humans had already lost most of their body hair roughly 1 million years earlier. That means humans spent an enormous stretch of time with neither natural fur nor clothing to rely on. Fire and shelter likely carried most of that survival burden until clothing technology finally caught up. Shelter was just as critical as fire and clothing, and it took several different clever forms. Caves were an obvious, valuable option wherever they were naturally available. They offered built-in protection from wind, snow, and dangerous predators without needing any construction at all. But caves weren't available everywhere, especially out on vast, open, treeless tundra and steppe regions. Wood was often scarce out there too, leaving people with a genuinely difficult building problem to solve. Ancient people solved this problem in a genuinely ingenious, slightly unexpected way. At a site called Mezhyrich, in what's now Ukraine, archaeologists discovered entire dwellings built from mammoth bones. Jawbones formed sturdy walls. Curved tusks arched overhead like a frozen, bony ceiling. With scarce timber, people creatively repurposed the enormous skeletal remains of animals they had already hunted. A newly updated study in 2025 re-examined one of these structures using more precise dating methods. Researchers now believe this particular dwelling may have been used, on and off, for up to 429 years. That suggests it wasn't one continuous home, but a practical shelter reused by different groups passing through over generations. It's a great example of ongoing research still refining our understanding of exactly how people survived this era. Food was another enormous daily challenge, and it came primarily from hunting large Ice Age animals. Mammoths, woolly rhinos, bison, and reindeer were all important, calorie-dense food sources. These animals provided large amounts of meat, But crucially, they also provided fat. Fat was especially valuable, since it's a far more concentrated source of calories than lean meat alone. In fact, relying only on lean meat without enough fat can actually cause serious health problems over time. This condition is sometimes called rabbit starvation, since it was historically observed in people eating only lean rabbit meat. Ancient hunters clearly understood, at least practically, that fat wasn't optional. It was essential for real survival. None of this worked well as a solo effort either. Cooperation was absolutely essential for survival. Hunting large, dangerous animals like mammoths required careful group coordination and shared risk. Groups that shared food, labor, and knowledge consistently had better odds of making it through harsh winters. Archaeologists have even found evidence of long-distance trade networks reaching surprisingly far during this era. Materials like shells and certain stone tools have been found hundreds of miles from their original natural source. This shows Ice Age communities weren't isolated at all. They were surprisingly well connected to each other. Some populations even developed physical traits that genuinely helped with surviving extreme cold. Neanderthals, who lived through extensive Ice Age conditions, tended to have shorter, stockier body builds. This body shape reduces surface area relative to body volume, which helps retain heat more efficiently. It's the same basic principle seen in many cold-adapted animals throughout the natural world. Biology itself was quietly working alongside fire, clothing, and shelter to help some populations cope with the cold. Survival wasn't only physical either. Ice Age humans also left behind genuine evidence of art and symbolic thinking. Cave paintings depicting animals, along with carved figurines, have been found at numerous sites across this era. Researchers believe this kind of symbolic behavior may have helped strengthen social bonds within tight-knit groups. Shared stories, rituals, and art could have reinforced cooperation, exactly the kind of cooperation survival depended on. To be clear, the exact meaning behind much of this ancient art remains genuinely debated among researchers today. But its mere existence shows these communities had rich inner lives, well beyond simply finding food and staying warm. Quick pause before we continue. Take a guess. Do you think every single ancient human population successfully survived the Ice Age? Unfortunately, no. Neanderthals, for example, went extinct roughly 40,000 years ago. The exact causes are still genuinely debated among researchers, including climate shifts and competition for resources. Let's clear up a few common myths before we wrap up. Myth 1. Ice Age humans were simple, unintelligent cave dwellers with no real innovation. Not accurate at all. Fire mastery, tailored clothing, and engineered shelters show genuine, sophisticated problem-solving. Myth 2. The entire Ice Age was one single, unbroken, uniformly freezing period. Not true. It included multiple distinct cold and warmer phases stretching across an enormous span of time. Myth 3. Humans only survived by relying on caves for shelter. Not accurate. Many groups built entirely different shelters, including the remarkable mammoth-bone dwellings we covered. Myth 4. Ice Age communities lived in complete isolation from one another. Not true. Evidence of long-distance trade shows real, meaningful connections between distant groups. Myth 5. Clothing during this era was simply draped animal skin, with no real tailoring involved. Not accurate. Evidence of ancient sewing needles shows genuinely fitted, precisely tailored clothing was being made. Myth 6. Ice Age humans and Neanderthals were essentially the exact same population. Not accurate. They were closely related but genetically and physically distinct populations living during overlapping periods. Let's wrap up with a few fun extra facts. The Mezhyrich mammoth-bone site was actually discovered by accident in 1965 by a farmer digging a basement. What he thought was ordinary digging turned into one of the most significant Ice Age discoveries in history. The oldest known sewing needle, used for making fitted clothing, is roughly 50,000 years old. It shows just how early precise, practical clothing technology had already become genuinely advanced. Some Ice Age art, like carved figurines, may have even played a role in social bonding during difficult times. Okay, let's bring this all together. Fire provided warmth, safety, and better nutrition through cooking, arguably humanity's most important survival tool. Clothing, dated through clever lice DNA research, likely enabled migration into colder regions around 170,000 years ago. Shelter took creative forms, from natural caves to entire dwellings built from mammoth bones on the open tundra. Fat-rich hunting, strong cooperation, and even body shape adaptations all worked together to improve survival odds. Not every population made it through, but the ones that did left behind a genuinely remarkable story of resilience. All from an era with none of our modern comforts, solved through fire, ingenuity, and genuine cooperation. If this answered a question you never knew you had, that's exactly what this channel is about. So if you enjoyed this, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and it takes about 2 seconds. Drop a comment and tell me which part surprised you the most. Was it the lice detective story? The mammoth bone houses? Let me know. And if you liked this video, go ahead and tap that like button. It's a small click that genuinely helps this channel keep growing. There are hundreds of everyday questions just like this one waiting to be explored. Stories about human history you've never actually stopped to question. That's what this channel is all about. Toggling your curiosity on, one question at a time. One more thing before you go. Tap that notification bell too, so you actually see it when the next video drops. Next time, we're tackling why flamingos stand on one leg for hours without falling over. It's a surprisingly clever energy-saving trick, and you will not guess the mechanism. I'll see you in the next one.